My name is Zak Bagans. I never believed in ghosts until I came face to face with one. Raw. Extreme. These are our ghost adventures.
Hey, shadow people. This is Paranormal Playback, the podcast where we recap, roast, and revel in the wild world of paranormal reality TV. I'm Charlie.
I'm Mel.
And I'm Laura.
If you're new here, we are three creative weirdos with a lot of opinions and an unhealthy obsession with ghost hunting shows. Each week, we break down the episodes you love or love to hate, dive into the tech, call out the chaos, and maybe even throw in a few of our own ghost stories along the way. If you're into things that go bump in the night and trying to understand the unknown, you're in the right place. So please go ahead, rate, review, and subscribe. It helps more spooky-loving skeptics and believers find the show. And if you've got a haunted house or a haunted aunt, we want to hear about it. Welcome to Paranormal Playback. This is part 1 of Ghost Adventures Season 1, Episode 6, Former Psychiatric Hospital, Northern New Jersey, which is probably the most generic name possible.
Such a weird name.
I was like, do you not want to give us like any other context to what this is?
Yeah.
But I guess it was that they didn't want to disclose the location for fear of people going and vandalizing it, which is weird because it's been vandalized.
No,
so.
It's really weird. He says they do it to protect the patients, but no one's a patient.
What patients? They don't have patients anymore.
Yeah, it was really odd.
So strange. But this is one of my favorite episodes. I did not realize it until they actually go to the morgue. And then I was like, oh my God, this is that episode. So I don't think we get into it until part 2 of this, but keep your eyes and ears peeled, friends.
Yeah.
It's a good one.
I also think this must be the one that inspired Grave Encounters, the movie.
I literally have a note that said the same exact thing, Mel. And I was like, I wonder if Mel realized it too.
I mean, it had to. Especially there's like a scene where he like when they lock themselves in.
Yeah.
Even more.
Yes, they lock themselves in even more. The wheelchairs, the like maze aspect to everything. I was like, this is totally where Grave Encounters got the whole movie idea.
Yeah.
And this is also the episode where I think the trauma of Aaron really escalates. So,
well, I was gonna call out that they're on the East Coast.
Yes, I wrote that down too.
Mm-hmm.
East Coast Zak.
Yes. So yeah, Lauren, Zak does not travel to the East Coast, correct?
Correct.
Because he is claustrophobic and has a fear of flying.
Fear of flying. Yep.
Do you think that started during COVID? Like, I wonder when it started.
I don't know. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess we'll kind of see when that starts, because another thing that you do see is he's not wearing a mask halfway through.
Yeah, that was stressing me out.
And then he starts wearing a mask. So
yeah, I had a theory that maybe he does make a reference to Houghton Mansion in this episode, but I was trying to figure out when this one was filmed, and it feels like it's earlier than some of the other episodes that we've already seen in this season.
It definitely feels more home movie, like the interviews and even the weird like New Jersey, where the alien invasion in War of the Worlds happened and the Sopranos were from. I'm like, oh,
yes,
very random.
I was like, what do you know about Jersey? Like this, when I think of New Jersey, that is not where my mind goes. War of the Worlds.
Definitely not War of the Worlds. Maybe the Sopranos once upon a time.
Maybe Sopranos, but like, what the hell? So this episode aired on November 1st, 2008. Again, I think it was possibly filmed before some of the other episodes. So we'll see. I don't know if there's a way to figure that out.
It did feel extra gritty, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. So they were very vague about the psychiatric hospital, but you can do a quick Google search and find that it is in Essex County.
Yes.
It's the Essex County Hospital Center in Cedar Grove, New Jersey. And because they were so vague on the intro, I figured we should just dive right into this old haunt. So,
Okay.
Hey,
Yeah.
Mel.
Hey. All right. Well, hi, guys. On today's episode of This Old Haunt, we're testing our sanity and our tolerance for Zak's whisper yelling as we head into the snowy ruins of northern New Jersey's most haunted healthcare facility, Overbrook Asylum, where treatment plans included fresh air, light exercise, and occasionally losing track of your patients in the woods. It opened in 1896 with the best of intentions and closed in 2007 with significantly fewer. From electroshock therapy to mass graves, this place didn't need demons to be terrifying. It had neglect, outdated treatments, and a documented body count. Ghosts? Maybe. Bureaucratic failure? Absolutely. So zip up your coats and pack your tetanus shots. This old haunt is headed straight to the front gates and into a padded room. All right. So yes, as Charlie referenced, the hospital is Essex County Hospital Center, also known as Overbrook Asylum. It's located in Cedar Grove, New Jersey, and it originally opened in 1896 as a general hospital, but it began psychiatric treatment in the early 1900s. It did officially shut down in 2007, and it had a reputation for overcrowding, patient neglect, unexplained deaths, and long abandoned tunnels and warbs. Ripe ghost bait.
I'm sorry. What was the word you just said? Warbs?
Wards, like a ward.
Wards.
Wards, like the medical ward.
Thank you.
Okay. So yes, it was built in 1896, initially housing patients with mental illness, but it did later expand into a full medical facility used for tuberculosis, dementia, and chronic illness care. It functioned both as a psychiatric hospital and a long-term care facility under various names over time. And it was a self-contained, they kind of go over this in the episode a little bit, but it was a self-contained psychiatric campus. It had farms, laundries, a theater, a powerhouse, and its own train stop at the Caldwell branch. It was a fully operational mid-20th century building that housed over 1,000 patients at the time. It played a central role in mental health care before deinstitutionalization policies started reducing the patient count, which eventually led to its decline and closure in 2007. Over its lifetime, more than 10,000 patients died on campus, many of those under undocumented circumstances. There are photos of broken cages, hydrotherapy rooms, and personal artifacts that still litter the abandoned buildings. Silent testaments. Cages. Broken cages.
Yeah, that's the hydrotherapy room stuff sounded nice in theory, but then I was like, what exactly, I mean, I'm going to get a hydrofacial next week, but I'm like, what is
a little different.
I was like, what was hydrotherapy? I really would love to know.
I didn't really go into, or did I go into hydrotherapy?
No, it's okay if you didn't. It was just one of those things that I was like, they show the bathtubs at one point, and I'm like, were they like waterboarding them in there?
It may have been like ice.
Nurse Cratchit. Did you see that show with Sarah Paulson?
Yes, so good. Wasn't it just called like Cratchit?
I think so.
Something like that.
I think they did hydrotherapy where they I don't know if this is actually historically accurate, but I think they put them in like hot water and then like cold water, but that could have just been like completely fictional.
Yeah. Or it could have been like, what is it? It's not a hyperbaric chamber. What is it when you like are enclosed in water?
Yeah.
What's it called? And you feel like you're
like
floating.
A sound bath?
No,
not a sound bath. No. Deprivation.
Yes, a deprivation tank. Maybe it was something like that because it is completely enclosed.
Yeah. Okay. Quick Google search says that hydrotherapy is a treatment that uses water's physical properties like temperature and pressure to relieve pain, promote healing, and improve physical function. It does sound like it's something that's still used to this day. So I don't know.
Yeah, it didn't seem like there were too bad of like treatments.
I'm sure there are
on.
bad apples in the bunch, though.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Okay, but one of the unique things about this facility is the tunnels that were running underneath them. I think of them kind of like the utilidors of Magic Kingdom. In case you didn't know, their Magic Kingdom was built above sea level so that Walt Disney never wanted a character from Adventureland to have to walk through Tomorrowland and ruin the magic to exit the facility. So we built the utilidors so they could always pop up where they're supposed to be.
I love some Disney lore.
Yeah, no.
I was like, Mel, your mouse ears are showing.
My mouse ears are showing. Oh, no. So these tunnels, I think of them more like the tunnels that exist in like Montreal, where they have like a shopping center, and in order to get around, like underground shopping center, because of how cold it gets. So the purpose of these tunnels was that they were originally built for utility and staff movement. They connected various buildings across the 2,000-acre campus. They were used to transport laundry, food, medical supplies, and occasionally patients, especially in bad weather. These tunnels were dark, narrow, and very poorly ventilated. Some were reportedly large enough to walk through. Others required crouching or crawling, which we see Zak doing. Over the years, parts of them collapsed or flooded, which, you know, kind of adds to the creepiness there. But by the 1980s and 1990s, many of the tunnels were sealed off or had collapsed, but they remained a popular trespassing target for urban explorers and ghost hunters. Some reports say hospital staff used the tunnels as shortcuts even after parts of the campus were decommissioned. So a lot of these paranormal investigators claim to have heard voices, captured EVPs, or felt sudden cold spots in or near the tunnels. Apparently, there's one specific location near the old hydrotherapy building that's said to give off a sense of dread, with one explorer claiming they heard a gurney rolling towards them, only to find an empty corridor. Others have speculated that unrecorded patient deaths or secret transfers during the winter boiler failures may have occurred via these tunnels, which I'll get into the boiler failure in a minute here. So between the 1890s and the 1917 era, there was a brutal storm in 1917 where 24 patients died in one night. It was
in one night? I didn't realize that.
Yes, it was the hospital's boiler failed and the heat shut off. So patients reportedly froze to death in their beds. Within 3 weeks, another 32 suffering from frostbite died. A superintendent reportedly begged their families via letter to remove their relatives temporarily, and many of them did not come. This incident is widely cited as a catalyst for ongoing ghost stories and is often the anchor haunting, if you will, used in paranormal episodes. So that's like the biggest thing that happened here was that brutal storm, and clearly had a trickle effect on the patients. Some other notable incidents were there was a flood of over 150 missing patients recorded in 1978 alone.
What?
Yeah. Some reportedly wandered off into nearby neighborhoods or broke into homes. Between the 1940s and 50s, records show a pattern of patients wandering off the grounds, sometimes for days. The hospital was surrounded by woods, and understaffing meant that patients would sometimes just vanish during bad weather or staff transitions.
Well, I was wondering, like, what was the staff to patient ratio? I'm so curious, you know.
Yeah, I have no idea. Probably not even remotely close to what it should be.
And you know what? I'm sure all of the staff was underpaid, and as soon as like somebody wandered off, they're like, I don't care.
Yep.
You know?
Yeah.
And if they're like schizophrenic, you know, they're just like, let them.
Like,
yeah.
Not,
like, I don't care.
Yeah.
Okay, Mel Robbins. But
I mean, realistically, if you think about it. Like,
yeah.
No, I'm sure that it was probably more of a hassle to try to get them than to just like,
or to,
like,
I mean, that so many patients were there to keep track of, and the system, I mean, it's not like they had like a lot of electric security that we have these days, but in the 1990s, there was one particular incident where one escaped patient broke into a private home in Verona, New Jersey. The man, who had previously been deemed nonviolent, ended up attacking a resident and sparking public outcry. And this actually helped push Essex County towards eventually closing the facility.
Do you know what kind of attack it was?
I'm pretty sure he held like a carving knife.
Oh my God.
Oh, he entered the Cedar Grove home with a carving knife and a hammer. Who doesn't love
I'm just thinking
a
about
mentally ill person in their home with a carving knife and a hammer?
No, I mean, it sounds crazy, but then I'm also thinking about like when I lived in New York City, it was really disturbing the number of people you would just see on the streets regularly that clearly needed help. Like I had heard more than one story about men, like a man walking down 8th Avenue carrying a machete. Like that's happened more than one time. I'm like, that's not, how has that happened more than once?
Well, what's scary is you can't reason with them, you know?
Yeah. So a few notable people and scandals were a few unnamed orderlies in the 1970s. According to local papers, they reported multiple cases of staff abuse, including one where an orderly was caught hitting a patient with a broomstick. There were also allegations of sexual misconduct that were quietly settled or swept under the rug, which was horrible. Not surprising, but horrible. There was a man named Dr. John Grady. I guess that was his alias. He was documented in oral history projects as Dr. John Grady. He's known for his work in hydrotherapy. He was both admired and feared. His treatments included immersion baths that would last for hours, sometimes leaving patients with burns or infections from poor sanitation.
Ew.
See, that's what I'm saying with that Cratchit show. She would like put them in like really hot water.
Yeah.
And then like,
oof. And then Miss Nellie, the nurse, was a well-known staffer among patients in the 1950s to 1960s. She was remembered in history for her strict discipline and superstitions. She's apparently refused to enter Ward C after claiming to see a patient who had died weeks prior. So perhaps that's the nurse that they encounter, but Nurse Nellie. So when it comes to paranormal claims and hauntings...
Wait, sorry, say that one more time.
Nurse Nellie.
So, but she saw a patient in the...
So she refused to enter Ward C anymore after she claimed to see a patient who had died weeks prior when she went in there. So, yeah.
I mean, they say stuff like that is pretty common too. Like even not in psych wards, but like in hospice care places.
Yeah.
Like when you actually, I love hearing hospice care stories about like people who work in them and like the crazy things that they see or hear when people are passing away.
Yeah.
So if anybody has hospice,
we actually have a few
stories.
comments on the TikTok the medical one of that. There was like a nurse who commented on some of her hospice stories. I believe it was hospice.
Yeah, we need to pull those up for the next Rosé.
I mean, there's like, and I've heard the same thing. It's like people are either like talking about like burning like they see flames. Like I've heard.
God.
I've not heard that. That's crazy.
Who sees like flames? Who sees the flames?
Like, no, this woman on Instagram, she said that there's two things that happen when people are about to pass. Either they're terrified and they see it's like the hell,
like hell.
Oh,
great!
Or it's like I need to find her.
I've mostly heard the stories about like them seeing loved ones or nurses seeing those people in the hospital after they've died. There's also been like, there was one story I heard about like a cat. Like cats would always know when somebody was about to pass.
Yeah, they would lay on them the day of. I know, I saw that too.
Yeah.
It freaked me out because she was like, there's always two things that would happen. It would be a peaceful one, or there was a really traumatic, like, yeah.
That's so horrible.
Yeah.
I mean, oh, God.
Great. Love
Good
that.
time. So, if you have more hospice stories, send it our way.
Let us know.
We want to hear them.
All right. In terms of, speaking of hauntings, in terms of real hauntings, real, I'm doing air quotes, real hauntings and encounters. There's apparently a mysterious figure that appears in the day room. An urban explorer recalled visiting around 2009, so shortly after it had closed, 2 years after, in the crumbling day room. They spotted a male figure darting around a corner down a long, dark hallway. When they chased, they found only an empty restroom. So, was it a person? Was it a person living there? Who knows? The second one is there's apparently a shadow stalker in Building 5. Shadow stalker. That's a new.
A shadow stalker?
Like they stalked the shadow, or the shadow is a stalker?
I think the shadow is the stalker. A crew member from a local paranormal team claimed to have seen a large shadow figure with visible spine ridges.
Ew.
Slipping through corridors, and then when followed, the figure vanished. Rumor has it even Zak was whisper yelling in that same building. Then there's the Gurney whistles and hair salon chills. A former staff era worker described unexpectedly hearing a gurney rolling and someone whistling. Fucking whistling is the creepiest thing of all time. I told you guys about the Lady Gaga whistle. Who knew Lady Gaga could creep you the fuck out when you're alone in a parking deck at 1 a.m.? A former staff era worker described unexpectedly hearing a gurney rolling and someone whistling while cleaning what is now a hair salon. Actually, the morgue. Okay, apparently the morgue used to be a hair salon at some point. But the footsteps echoed in locked wards, and they would constantly hear doors tapping or someone pacing. Next is help me EVPs and dark tunnel figures. People reported hearing voices pleading, help me, unexplained cold spots, and chest pressure in the hydrotherapy wing and underground tunnels. Visitors say one wing was so cold it felt like you were inside the 1917 boiler room freeze. I'm like, did you go there in winter? Because maybe that's why. And then after some TV crews visited in 2008, 34 trespassers were arrested in 3 days. Police presence spiked and the place was heavily patrolled. A student paper even ran a story. A crew member in Building 5 was so demonized they stopped talking about it.
The person stopped talking about it?
Yeah. Oh. They were like so creeped out by what they saw in Building 5. They could no longer speak of their experience.
Creepy.
So that's Overbrook, the asylum where the walls talk, the windows scream, and the patient records mysteriously vanish somewhere between electroshock and oops, we lost another one. Whether or not the ghosts are real, one thing's for sure, mental health care in the early 1900s was scarier than any demon Zak could conjure. This old haunt is checking itself out, preferably not in a straitjacket. See you next time, Shadowlings, where we'll dig up more history and maybe some poor architectural choices. Into the shadows we go.
I don't know why that felt appropriate. Amazing. Thank you, Mel.
That was great. I know. I was hoping for like more like patient, like a spooky patient or like a criminal patient. Like they kept talking about how the patients were criminally insane.
That's okay. That was my thing, is like they were painting these people as like bad people.
Yeah.
I'm like, what are you backing this up with?
I feel like that was just a side of the times kind of thing. If you were insane, you were bad, if you were deemed, insane.
Yeah. And I guess, criminality, like what are they considering a criminal act? Like, could it be that, it's somebody has a problem and they're like exposing themselves, like the
can't
acts,
control themselves in public, or
like I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of different things that it could be.
Yeah. And it really was a place where like family members who didn't want to deal with like a problem would lock away other family members claiming they were mad.
Not even just, yes, family members, but some of what breaks my heart the most is I don't know the stats on this, and I'm not looking them up right now. So just, you guys trust me on it. Look it up for yourselves if you like. But the number of men who would lock up their wives because they just didn't want to be with them anymore. And they were just like, oh, she's crazy, and like would get her locked up. It was like real. I don't think it was all of them. I think there were definitely women who needed help.
Yeah.
But the idea of like, oh, she's hysterical.
Yeah, the hysteria thing.
Hysteria was like a whole thing. Like there were a lot of diagnoses that just had to do with not understanding women's health, first of all, and not taking women's feelings seriously.
Yeah.
Like not actually like, oh, maybe she's hysterical because her husband's cheating on her all the time, or maybe she's hysterical because he beats her, or like all of that stuff. So.
And I don't know necessarily this location. I'm sure, I mean, it opened in 1896, so probably this was also where a lot of like horrible experimentation was done on the Black community in asylums. I feel like there's like one doctor in particular that's known for some really terrible experiments in some asylum, but that was absolutely a thing that went on. You know, people held against their will and just used as test subjects horribly. I think that was in the 40s.
You know, it's funny. We always talk about like wanting to have psychics or mediums on this show, but I'm like, I would also, because, you know, I feel like so many people, including us, love this old haunt part. I would also love to have experts on the show and possibly have them guest host with us who just have like expertise and understanding maybe some of the things around like what caused people to die. So like somebody who's an expert in mental illness covering an episode with us, or
or just historians.
Yeah. Like,
absolutely.
I just think it would be like an interesting take because, I mean, we know we know that some of this stuff is staged and some of it is, you know, some can be real, some is staged, but after a while it's like, oh, I want to know like what somebody in a different profession might think about what could have been going on here, like that type of thing.
These places still do have like a strong history, which I think is part of like what draws people in as well.
Yeah. I was also so fascinated by this place and the fact that not just the tunnels, but the fact that they created like their own little town.
Yeah.
Oh,
like
I know that they like grew their own food and I love when they were going over that though. They were still doing like scary edits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I am glad they at least did like the baseline filming, like walking through the building without the lights off.
Yeah.
Because I like to like
Mel needs
I need to know where we are. Yeah. I need to know where we are. And also it's like way creepier. Well, probably not creepier, but it's creepy as fuck already with the lights on and like crumbling paint and everything.
And all the random shit just thrown everywhere.
Yeah, and the graffiti.
The ceiling that was caving in.
Yeah, the ceiling and I could not believe they weren't wearing their masks the whole time. The only smart one is Aaron.
I'm like, wait, why is Aaron wearing a mask?
The asbestos. Yeah, they were like taking it off, and Nick didn't wear it the whole time he was in the morgue. It just,
you know, that as I was watching it, and we'll get to this shortly, but there is a sign that warns them about asbestos, and I was like, is this where Zak's respiratory problems started?
I know.
Probably.
I mean, but seriously.
Did he breathe in asbestos? And
well, there's a moment where he keeps rubbing his eyes when he's like in the straitjacket, and
I
was
was
like,
how's he rubbing his eyes if he's in the straitjacket?
Well, he's like trying to rub his like he's doing weird things with his eyes, and then after he gets out of it, he's like rubbing his eyes. And I'm like, oh, could it be maybe the asbestos? Yeah,
probably.
You know, like, and that can't be the only thing there. You know, it's got to be like asbestos and
black mold.
Like, definitely in those tunnels.
So, Mr. Zachary tells us that thousands of mentally ill patients lived, died, and were tormented here. He explained that this property is 90 acres of land, and that all the buildings here are connected by a tunnel system, which is where they're going to be locked down. They don't initially tell us who people are in the interviews, but they start with one woman, and she starts telling us how creepy this place is because people just left things behind. We see footage of crumpled up clothing and toilet.
She looks like Ricky Lake.
Oh my gosh, she did look like Ricky.
She did.
But the footage it made me laugh because, wait, Mel, when did you say that it stopped being a psychiatric ward?
2007 is when it closed.
Oh, so it was literally the year. Wait.
Oh,
no
it was
way.
only the year before?
Yeah.
It was the year before?
Yeah.
There's no way.
It's the year before.
Oh. Okay. Oh,
That was
okay.
like vacant for like decades. That was operating the year before?
I'm pretty sure it was not at full capacity, so that may have been in like the more the older ones, but it officially shut down in 2007.
Okay, that was not my understanding. So I saw this footage of crumpled up clothing and like toiletries sitting there, and I'm like, well, they don't look really dusty. And I was like, are these from people who are like squatting, like squatters? It's like, what? Like, why is this stuff here? But if it only closed like maybe even not even 12 months prior, it's possible that stuff was actually from people who lived there.
Yeah, I mean, I highly doubt it was at like full capacity, but
yeah. Well, so Mystery Lady talks about how creepy it is because it was left the way it was right before it closed. So I understand how that's creepy. It's less creepy to me than when it was like just a few months prior that it closed
I mean,
down.
if you think about you haven't seen the morgue yet, Charlie, but the morgue looks like a modern morgue.
Yeah.
It doesn't look old.
No,
other than the
right.
graffiti on it, but
I think the graffiti element definitely adds a lot to this episode's creepiness. That and like the ceilings and falling apart, but like, yeah, there's a lot of other things that I was like, it's not that creepy.
And the tunnels have been closed off since the 80s and 90s, so those were so those were closed off for a while, but people kept trespassing and stuff.
Yeah, clearly. So Bob Williams, who is the local historian, I don't know, you guys have never watched Plathville, right?
Mm-mm.
Okay, well, if there's any Plathville fans here, if you haven't figured it out yet, I am a full trash bag garbage reality TV fan, and Plathville, the father on that show, is very, very lanky. He's got like a very narrow skull and he's very muscular, and it's a very strange combination. But that's who Bob Williams reminded me of. He's balding, glasses, thin, lanky build. So Bob explains that they built this facility to keep some of the mentally ill folks within the county rather than having to send them off to another facility called Greystone. Which it sounds like Greystone, I guess, was further away. And if your family was... Did you talk about Greystone, Mel?
No.
Oh, okay. I think the idea was that if it was a family member that you were putting in this place and you had to send them to Greystone, that was going to be a far place for people to have to travel to like visit them or something. So this was actually in the county. It would make it easier for families to like visit the people and everything. Okay, this lady I referred to as Gaussian. Is that how you say this? Gaussian blur?
Yeah, Gaussian blur.
Gaussian blur.
Yeah. Okay, she's Gaussian blur, Mosaic blur lady.
Yeah. More of a mosaic.
Definitely a Mosaic blur.
Okay, we'll call her Mosaic blur lady then.
It should have been a Gaussian blur.
It should have been Gaussian, but for some reason they picked Mosaic. It was weird.
It was a bizarre blur they put on her face.
Which this is our nerdy like designer side stuff coming out. But if you've ever used Photoshop and played with the blurring tool, you'll notice that it has like different special effects settings. And one of them is like a Gaussian blur and one of them is a Mosaic blur. And this lady was in a Mosaic blur. And what that is like, it's blurred out, but with like weird, like
tiled.
Yeah.
Tiled blurs. So she didn't really seem that blurred out. Like I felt like I could kind of envision what she looks like.
It's like the clip art of blurs.
Yeah.
It was so strange.
I don't know why it even exists.
Blurs.
It's a Temu blur.
It's the Temu blur. Perfect. Whatever happened to Wish? Do you remember? Wish was like Temu before Temu. Sorry, that just occurred to me. I was like, we used to say it was the Wish version of something.
Oh, I thought it was like Shein was the Temu before Temu.
No. Wish always had the really weird ads of like.
Oh, I know. It's always like raunchy. I'm like, is this a real product?
It would be like a fleshlight or something. And you're like, it'd be like trying to promote themselves like Amazon, but then there'd be like, here's a t-shirt, here's a fleshlight. And you're like, what?
Okay.
All
right. Okay. Here we go.
Thank you. Anyway, so sidetrack. So Mosaic Blur Lady explains that the place was like its own little town. We see footage of a place that says sewing room and then one that says tailor shop. And I noted that those felt like they were kind of the same thing. So I was a little confused by that, but okay. She also tells us that at the turn of the century, they grew their own food and had their own bakery. I love the idea that they were growing their own food. And I really, really hope they were using that as therapy for the people because gardening is, and baking is a great therapeutic thing too.
Yeah. It seemed like it was opened with the best of intentions for the people. And, there you have some bad eggs in there for sure that are terrible. But gardening's absolutely like all of that is.
Yeah, it sounded like it would have made sense.
Mm-hmm.
But like all great business ideas, there's always somebody who's going to screw it up.
Yep.
So we see signs that say main kitchen, carpenter, locksmith's shop, etc. They even had their own groundskeepers. She said you had thousands of patients. You had every kind of mental illness that you can think of. So now Mosaic Blur Lady says, I don't know if anybody was ever tagged criminally insane. So she's not
Zak says thousands of criminally insane people.
Yes. So she said, but there were patients who were hardcore criminals. When she says hardcore criminals, I'm assuming that I'm sure there were people in there who were accused of things like rape
or violent,
murder, like violent acts. Yeah. So Zak had continually said that they were criminally insane. Zak explains to us how at the turn of the century, psychology was not well understood. Mental illness was a source of fear and shame, and many families sent their loved ones away to facilities for treatment, but it was often really just locking them away from society. So now Mosaic Blur Lady says that they were tortured for their whole life. If you've seen someone who is not stabilized on medication, who is truly psychotic, it's a horror to see the pain in their faces. So I have actually had experience with this. One of my best friend's daughters, I had never experienced it prior, but one of my best friend's daughters had a psychotic episode, and it was really heartbreaking to see someone who was like full of life and sparkle, and she became like a shell of a person. Like you literally look in her eyes and she was gone. Like who she was no longer there. And so when she was explaining this, like it brought back that memory to me of like knowing somebody who was a full person and then looking at them and like they're not in their body, but their body is still there. Like it's a wild experience.
What was the catalyst?
We believe that she had smoked weed that was like laced with something that caused psychosis. So, yeah. And we don't know if it was like an intentional thing. And there was a boy involved that we don't think was of the best intentions. And there might have been like, not the greatest. And I don't want to like expose their information. But just if you've never seen it, I don't think you can really truly understand like how disturbing that actually is to see somebody in that state. So Zak speaks about the barbaric therapies that were used at the turn of the century to treat people. Bob the builder, I mean, local historian, tells us that at the height of it, they had done 500 shock treatments here in 1 year. Which, did you guys know that they still do shock treatments today?
I guess
crazy.
that doesn't
shock you.
I guess that. Man, how did I miss that one?
You walked right into that.
I did. I'm upset I didn't come up with it myself. Bravo, Lauren. Bravo. Yes, I guess it doesn't shock me because shock electrodes are used for muscle spasms and stuff, right? So little shocks. I don't think it's, like the Frankenstein style electric shocks it used to be, but it wouldn't surprise me if that would do a little.
It's like microdosing shock treatments, maybe.
Yeah, maybe. If in like a more like humane clinical style, I guess it would make. I can see that maybe doing something. I don't know if it does anything.
I just have so many questions because like the fact that it is still done today makes me. I always thought like that it was not effective. Like whenever I used to watch it in movies and stuff growing up, it was like this is this barbaric treatment that they do that like doesn't actually help anything and it turns people into a vegetable. Like
also like
that's what lobotomy is,
right? That has to be voluntary. Like you have to know you're about to get that.
I would think so now.
So like, how do you sign up for that?
I don't know.
Desperation, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, or like you just consent. I don't know. I have no idea. But
I'm just so curious. I admittedly am very ignorant when it comes to like this stuff, but I would love to learn more because I think I'm so interested. Even lobotomies, I feel like they were still doing them up until like not that long ago.
Yeah.
It's insane. Okay, so they also did hydrotherapy here, which we've already covered. I feel like it sounded like it was nicer than it actually might have been. They also performed diathermics, where they attached electrodes to the head, but he didn't go into more detail about that one. And I meant to Google it. This was...
Let me say it. It's a treatment that provides deep heat to your tissues, helps relax muscles and joints, reduce swelling, and improve blood flow. Uses radio and sound waves to warm up the tissues beneath your skin.
That doesn't sound barbaric.
Yeah. Physical, it's a form of physical therapy, and it's used in surgical procedures.
Huh. Okay.
I don't know why you would necessarily need it on your head unless you're having like really bad migraines. Maybe, like a heating pad.
Oh, yeah.
But
that actually sounds pleasant.
It does not sound terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So far, this does not sound like a bad facility to me.
No, it really does. I mean, there are obviously some
on
bad
paper.
things. Yeah. But it doesn't seem like...
I'm like, oh, some of this stuff sounds enjoyable, but like I get to go there and, grow my own vegetables and bake and get some like therapy.
You know what though? You know how many times I like start watching cult documentaries and I'm like, oh, this doesn't seem too bad. Yeah. Like, they're all like,
they're all
like
in a commune,
they're trying to like improve, make each other better,
In Nexium, they're all playing volleyball. What's the harm in that?
Yeah, I would have totally been sucked into a cult.
Same.
Lauren, it's a miracle that you haven't ended up in a cult up until now.
It's okay, Lauren. I was thinking when Charlie was saying like families would just lock away people they want to deal with, I was thinking like, man, if I was in this time period, I would like definitely have just been locked away.
Yeah.
They would have been like, we can't handle you. Go.
At the age of 13.
Yeah.
Like, not even as an adult. Like, just like, yeah.
Oh my God. Okay, so Mosaic Blur. We decided she's not a Gaussian blur. Mosaic Blur lady tells us that in the old days, you had a lot of people who spent the last years of their lives at this hospital. Zak explains that in 1917, this is what Mel was referring to earlier, the heat broke.
Thousands. Not thousands.
This is what he said.
Yeah.
Zak explains that in 1917, the heat broke, and for weeks, thousands suffered in sub-zero conditions, and many of those people had died. So thousands sounds...
I wouldn't say many of thousands. If there were thousands of people in the facility at that time in 1917, I mean, it housed 1,000 patients, right? Isn't that what I said?
Yes. And so it wasn't thousands.
Yeah. At 1,000 patients at a time. So it couldn't be thousands just based on... It couldn't. But
Zak heard 1,000 and was like, thousands?
Yeah, I think he took the 1,000 and then the 10,000 people died. But that was over almost 100 years of the place being open. So in 1917, I'm sure all 1,000 people were very uncomfortable and suffered through the freezing cold, but 24 patients died that night. And then
he said many of those people had died.
No, yeah. 24 of them froze to death in their beds. And then within 3 weeks, another 32 died from suffering frostbite. So, I mean, the fact that they were getting frostbite from... So that means more were injured for sure and affected by it. But
yeah, so that was traumatic.
Completely. Yeah, and people wouldn't take their family members home. It's horrible.
Yeah, like the dead ones or the alive ones?
The alive ones. The people, the superintendent was writing to the families like, hey, we don't have heat. Come pick up your family member. And they just temporarily.
That's
yeah,
crazy.
like you just have to hang on to them for like a week or two.
And they're like, no. Ooh, scandal. Jerry's home from the ward.
Oh my God! Wait,
what
sorry.
do we do with him?
when you said Jerry was home from the ward, all of a sudden it occurred to me, like, I wonder how many people were of the like LGBTQ community also locked up in here just because.
Oh my God, probably so many.
They were gay.
Yeah, I'm sure there were like experiments too, like shit, what's it called? What is like conversion therapy type shit.
When you said that, I don't know why it reminded me of what is it, Little Miss Sunshine? When have you seen that movie?
Yes, but not since it like came out.
Okay, in Little Miss Sunshine, I think it's Steve Carell plays like the little girl's gay uncle who tries to like commit suicide.
Oh yeah,
and
spoiler.
I mean, it's been out probably since 2005.
It's a very old movie.
So now you're all for spoilers.
Yes.
We've been all for spoilers.
I didn't want to spoil you on a show that was actively coming out.
Anyway, so RIP to.
Or have you seen Girl Interrupted?
Yes. Oh my God, that's such a good one too.
I think one of the girls.
Mel, you've never seen? Yeah,
I don't think I have. I know the name. Like I'm
with Angelina Jolie and what's her name? Brittany Murphy.
Oh, Brittany Murphy.
Well, oh my God,
Winona Ryder's in it. Oh, that looks. Yeah, Elizabeth Moss. Really?
Okay, so Bob tells us how many deaths that took place there. He says well over 10,000 people, which, like Mel said, that was over decades. That was not at one time, but still, it's a staggering amount of people to have passed.
Yeah.
Mosaic Blur Lady tells us how more recently people who worked for the county and other departments were stationed here after it was no longer a psychiatric hospital. They saw what looked like a nurse in full turn-of-the-century garb with the long skirt walking up and down, making her rounds. Do you think that's the Nurse Nellie that you were talking about? Because they never referenced her by name.
Yeah, that's my thought.
Yeah.
Because they said Nurse Nellie worked there in the 60s and 70s.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I wonder why they didn't say her name. It's weird.
I don't know.
So now we meet Judy Franklin, who shares her experience here. She says that as part of her job, she would go into certain buildings and there was I was so confused about this. I'm like, who are these county people that are just
stationed. She made a comment that kind of alluded to what her job was when she was like, I have to go in because but she said, because I'm a secretary. Is that what she said?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was weird. She just said, as part of her job, she would go into certain buildings and there was always something that would happen.
But she never explained what her actual job was.
No. And also the things that would actually happen were vague. It was like, it's either the cold feeling or the hair on your arms goes up.
Yeah.
Which, Charlie.
I know. Unprotected.
Char checks attack.
Yeah.
By the way, if you haven't checked out our minisodes, Char checks attack, where Charlie goes into how some of this ghost tech works, you should check them out. They're like 10 minutes long, around 10-ish minutes, and they're really interesting to hear how this stuff works. And one of the things she goes over is EMF detectors and the spooky feeling people get and what that actually can be attributed to. Char?
Yes. So electromagnetic frequencies can actually confuse you and make you feel like somebody is watching you, or make you feel things like the hair standing up on your arms. So that actually makes a lot of sense if this very old building potentially has any electromagnetic frequencies, from its very old wiring. It would make sense that she may have been feeling that when she walked into the building. So
yeah. And like you said, like old wiring can cause it, right? Which this place certainly
well, and
has.
I feel like that was a common comment from a lot of people, was being like everybody felt like they were being watched.
Several people said that.
Yeah.
That was what I think when I did that Char checks the tech, that was one of the things that was like the most shocking to me, was that that electromagnetic frequency can actually make you feel like somebody was there. And I was like, what? I was like, that's crazy. Like that's I don't know. It makes sense.
It does make sense. I don't know why I'm trying to correlate it with frisson. Are you guys familiar with frisson and what frisson is?
No.
It's I think you are. You probably just don't realize you are. It's what it's called when you listen to music that literally like gives you chills.
Oh, yeah. Like, not everybody has that.
Yeah. Like you feel.
Oh, yeah.
You're like so moved by the music, you get like, your hair stands on end kind of thing.
Like goosebumps.
I wonder if it's the same sort of.
I didn't know that that's what it's called.
So Rob Feinberg tells us that he's just another eyewitness. He tells us that he was walking around in one of the buildings, and as soon as he walked up to one of the floors, he instantly got an eerie feeling like someone did not want them there.
He looks like Tom Green.
Yes.
Do you remember Tom
Green?
Wait,
is he the guy that plays Chad? The Chad?
Yes.
I don't know.
Thank you for knowing.
The Tom Green show.
From he's from Charlie's Angels.
They then came to one room that was about 90% down the hallway, and the door was closed. As soon as he opened the door, he got this huge wave of a feeling like someone just ran through him, and seemed like whoever it was just was upset that they opened the door. Which now I'm wondering, just based off of what we were saying about frisson and like all of that, like, is there really bad wiring in this room? And when he opened the door, it like released that energy or something?
Yeah. Have either of you ever been electrocuted before? And
yes.
Fucking sucks.
Oh my god. I have a stun gun.
Yeah.
And it looks like chapstick or something. And I just had in my stuff, and I was organizing this drawer with my sister. All of a sudden my sister was like I was like, oh my god. Did you just shock yourself? She was like, yes.
Was it Chelsea?
Chelsea. She was just like playing with my, like, she just didn't even know it was a stun gun, and she just like shocked herself. I was like,
oh my god.
I mean, those things will put you on your ass. Like,
yeah.
So now we meet Laura Feinberg, who I assume is Rob's wife or sister. because they have the same last name. So she says that we got into a building that was an old dormitory kind of wing. She said she felt like she was being watched in that building as if someone had their eyes on her. She said that at one point she actually started yelling, "We have to get out of here. We have to get out of here." Zak asks why she was yelling that. She said because something really didn't want us there, to the point that it felt like it might actually be dangerous. So I don't know. Something's going on here. Like something intense is happening because it seems like a lot of people are feeling this, but I'm so curious to know what it might be.
Really bad wiring.
Did they actually pull an EMF reader out in this episode? I know we'll find out when they actually go into
I think they do it at
lockdown,
one point. Yeah. But they didn't like show the results.
And they never, I don't think, even if they did, I don't think that they set baselines. No. Which, if you listen to my Char Checks the Tech, we talk about setting baselines and how important that is. So, okay. They show us some B-roll footage, and this place looks so fucked up. The ceiling is completely caving in certain spots, and it makes me really wonder how safe it could be for people to be like wandering around in there. Like the ceiling was completely open and just dangling, which was so strange.
Yeah, it looked horrible.
Yeah. Okay, so now we finally meet Chris.
This guy.
Chris Notarial. I don't know. Notarile. Do with that what you will.
I'm not from New Jersey, but this guy felt very New Jersey to me.
I felt like, so, okay, I felt like he reminded me very much of like a Jeremy Piven, like schmoozer type of personality. Like you could have seen him in like Entourage or like something like that. Zak introduces us to him as a filmmaker who shot an independent film in the old psychiatric hospital. The way that they filmed this scene with Chris is really funny as well. Like they start at one end of a path and then like the camera is like, whoever's holding the camera, I'm assuming Aaron, like is walking backwards and filming them as they're walking and talking. It was a very like, what is that show on CBS, like CBS Sunday mornings when they're interviewing like somebody in a vineyard.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So Zak asks if anything paranormal happened when they were filming. Chris says, "I'll leave that up to you guys to decide."
Get over yourself, bud.
I was like, he thought that was a great line. Like he was like practicing it and he's like, okay, when he asks me, this is what I'm going to say.
He's like, I'm so cool.
I'll leave that up to you guys to decide. He practiced it in the mirror and everything. So they enter a building and Chris says that we were shooting a scene in which our quote unquote doctor, so the actor who was playing a doctor, was talking to a boy who had been quote unquote admitted to a mental hospital.
Okay, wait. But in this scene, when they walk into this room, so it's a small room.
We're seeing the footage of this film.
Yes, but before that
Chris shot, yeah.
Before that, the room that Zak and this guy Chris walk into is like a small little, it's got a small table next to a window, and Zak walks onto the left side of the table, and then Chris walks to the right, and he just like, before Chris starts talking, he like leans his arms forward onto the table, like like an interrogation room kind of thing. I was gonna say that, like an interrogation. Yeah, and he like leans forward towards Zak before he starts telling him the story. And Zak like looks down at his arms when he does it, kind of in like a, bro, who do you think you are?
But it's hilarious because you know that these are all the same moves Zak does.
I know. Like it was just so odd.
Zak is just the Vegas version of this guy. This is the New Jersey version of Zak. It was so good. So he explains that the doctor had been talking to this boy, and the boy had gone catatonic and would not talk anymore. So the doctor in the film is saying, "Can you hear me? Hello?" And just as he says it, okay, sorry. This part was so confusing to me. I don't know if this confused you, but in the movie, he says, "Can you hear me? Hello." This is how Chris explained it. But then when they show the footage, he's actually saying, "It looks really cool," to the kid. That's the phrase he says. It looks really cool. And I was like, what looks really cool? Like that editing didn't make sense. But they picked up a EVP response on the actual footage itself that said, "Hello." There are 2 actors. So like we look in the scene, you can see that there are 2 actors, a boom mic operator, and then a production assistant that was standing right near them. There was no one else there. So Chris explains that the speaker system was not working and the audio pickup made no sense. So,
yeah, definitely weird.
Very, very strange. I mean, I do think that possibly they picked, like, I think that there's probably some lingering somethings there, but I don't know that all of this is because of that. So if they did pick up an EVP, it would make sense to me, you know.
Is that when it said hello?
Yeah. Welcome back, Lauren.
Yeah.
So Zak asks Rob Feinberg, or more like Zak is bragging to Rob Feinberg.
So
Did you know we're going to be locked inside here for an entire night? Rob,
when he said that, I was just like, I was like such a teenager.
Are you looking for a compliment?
Yeah.
Completely.
But Rob's response is great. He says, "Well, now I know that."
Like,
do you want a gold star, Zak?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Zak says, because he didn't get the compliment he wanted, he says, "Do you think that's pretty crazy? Would you do that?" Rob says, "Part of me says yes, I would love to do it, but part of me says no, because being in an old psych hospital, you don't know what kind of spirits are actually still floating around. If there's some very angry, dangerous people in life, a chance there could be very angry, dangerous people in death." Zak says, "And that's exactly what drew us to this location."
Of course.
And I was like, oh, you know he's ready for some provocation in this episode.
Mm-hmm.
Let's provoke him.
Provoke him.
So Zak now explains to us that they want to get an idea of what they are in for. So they are going to meet with John DeGennaro, who is the fire safety director of the psychiatric hospital, and Tom Hamilton, who is the associate director. Tom tells us that he was taking photos inside of the facility that morning, and later on, when they reviewed the pictures, it had what appeared to be an orb or energy field.
I thought it was interesting he said energy field, because that was the first time I heard energy field, but I thought that was like a smart way of putting it.
Yeah.
But then the way what Zak said about orbs, I know Char, Mel, you guys have the same opinion. I appreciated that.
I did. I wrote down, I love that Zak is skeptical of orbs. I wonder when that changed, because
I wrote the same thing, especially because we've talked about this before. We're like, you know, especially me, because I sit in the middle. I'm not a skeptic. Like, orbs are, I mean, I'm a skeptic, but like, I'm not Mel. Orbs are one of the few things in all of this that make me pause, and I'm like, but how can you possibly debunk whether or not that was a bug?
Yeah,
or like something else?
And when they're like, oh, it flew towards you, like,
that could have been a bug.
Could have been a bug.
Yeah, exactly. So this was so interesting to me, because Zak says he just looked at the photo and said that he is not 100% a believer in orbs. I said, which I agree with, but also I feel like he doesn't feel this way anymore. So that was interesting. He says he thinks a lot of them can be debunked as dust and bugs, but the one in this photo struck his eye because it was an odd shape, which it was not that odd of a shape to me. I don't know if you guys felt like it was an odd shape.
I don't even remember.
He asks Tom to show him where they took the picture. So they walk into the facility and they are facing some piping that looks like it's in the corner of the wall. They pull up the photo to show us the orb. So I agree that I don't see an obvious reason for why the orb would be there in this photo. Like I was kind of like looking at the photo and trying to see like, are there reflective surfaces that like the light could have been bouncing off of or whatever? But all of the piping and everything in there was super dull and rusty. So I was like, I don't think the light was bouncing off of anything, but that still doesn't eliminate dust or a bug.
Yeah. Also, did you guys notice in this scene behind Zak at one point when he's talking to this dude, there's like a radiation sign? At least I think it was like the
like the thing?
It's the like circle with the little X in it, and it was a yellow sign. I'm pretty sure it's radiation. It wasn't biohazard, but it looked like a warning radiation sign.
Well, that's not good.
But it was kind of like obscured by his head. That's all. Nothing else. That just wanted to point that out.
I mean, because that could be dangerous.
Toxic waste.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. It didn't
Do
seem
not pass.
or like, yeah.
Maybe that's what the orb was. It was just some like toxic waste.
Yeah.
Like fumes, toxic fumes.
Maybe it's a radioactive spider, you know? Go into this tunnel, you become Spider-Man.
Exactly. So wait, what did I say? Reflective, blah, blah, blah. We do see a second photo where the orb had moved from the right side of the frame and then into the doorway to the left side of the frame. But again, like I said, that could have been a bug. So I don't know. Tom says that he and John have been there many times. He says no one has ever harmed us. They've just freaked us out. As they walk through a hallway, Tom says that this one area is where he felt cold and like his hairs were standing on edge. Zak says, you know what that probably was? Tom stares at him and Zak continues.
Old wiring.
It was a spirit passing through you. Okay, Zak. Zak then looks at the camera and says, this is going to be one hell of a lockdown.
I did enjoy as him following the like death signs though.
Oh yeah,
like, him being jokey.
Yeah. Oh, I loved that part.
It was like we're so continuing down the black brick road here, the lovely route of death.
Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah.
So, what Mel is referencing is the tunnels. And all of the graffiti that they find in these tunnels. So they begin to address the maze that connects all of these buildings that they mentioned at the top of the episode. Zak tells us that they are dark, creepy, and confusing. We see footage of the tunnels that appear to be in disrepair, have rusted pipes running through them, and just for the most part, seem kind of eerie. Also,
as
did you
most
know
tunnels are? What tunnel are you like? That looks fun.
Yeah.
Yes. No, I agree. But a tunnel with a high ceiling is less creepy to me than a tunnel with a cramped tunnel with a low. The low ceilings, I think, were what got me with these.
Yeah.
I was like, this is uncomfortable to me.
I guess I'm not claustrophobic though, so that.
Oh, I'm very
yeah.
That I would not have liked any of that. Okay. We meet Jim Chaffee, a retired fire chief who shows the gang how to access the tunnels through the old patients ward in Building 5. Zak asks Jim about his experiences, and he says he heard one story about a guy hearing someone yelling for help inside the tunnels after the place had been closed down, which, as a reminder, I guess if it closed in 2007, that experience would have only had happened like a few months prior.
You know what's funny though? If somebody really needed help.
Yeah. Oh, that's what I was thinking. Like, what if somebody was just like in there?
Just disturbing. Well, so speaking of somebody just being in there. So my coworker, Adam, who listens to our podcast regularly. Hey, Adam. Thank you for being a supporter and a shadow person.
Hey, Adam. Thank you.
He told me that he and his friends used to go, like when he was in college, I think, they used to go investigate this old abandoned place where he used to live. I think it may have been a psych ward in his hometown. He showed me the photos and everything. I have to send them to you guys, but it's very creepy. But he did mention to me that because people used to vandalize the place, him and his friends used to intentionally do things to try to scare trespassers.
Yeah, of course.
Totally.
So, I mean, like, yes, that seems like an obvious thing, but he, like, with the things he was explaining to me that they would do, like, legitimately would have freaked people out and really, like, been a ghost story to somebody. Like, they would have gone home and, like, told people it was a ghost story.
Amazing.
So,
and then like lived on for how many years?
Yeah,
exactly.
amazing.
So I was like, this just kind of added an extra level of skepticism for me, where I was like, that, yes, I've considered that, but not like in that detail. Anyway, so Jim takes Zak and the boys through the tunnel. He tells them that when they are locked in later, it'll be pitch black in there.
That did surprise me that they didn't use any sort of flashlight. I feel like it would totally be fine if they used a flashlight. Like, they don't need to be wandering around in the dark. I think it's actually creepier to have a small, like
a little tiny light.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. It's definitely entertaining. Not black light. Did I say black light? Night vision.
No, yeah. No, I totally get that. I think it can be creepy either way, but the idea that they are walking around in the complete darkness, if I think about me being in their position, then I'm like, oh, that's terrifying. I think it's less scary to look at because you don't see what's around them. So, like,
yeah, well, also them, like, what makes the place creepy is the things you see, like seeing an old gurney, but they can't see shit.
Exactly.
You know, they're not, like, they're just kind of stumbling around in the dark, which, yes, in itself is scary, knowing where you are. But to me, it's even creepier seeing the old
right
shit.
Like in Grave Encounters, when they have a flashlight and all of a sudden they see a wheelchair sitting in the middle of a hallway that shouldn't have been there.
Yeah.
Not to spoil that movie for everybody. Okay, so Zak tells the guys, okay, tonight we should not go alone in these tunnels at all. Dude, we're going to get so fucking lost in here tonight. Which, I mean, it is very confusing. And they said that the tunnels go on for miles. And I'm like,
yeah,
that's a long, confusing distance to be in there.
I don't know acreage to mile conversion. What did they say? 200 acres?
I was just like, how many miles are we talking about per, like, branch of the tunnel? You know?
That it doesn't really work like that. 200.
Because you have to think, like,
it's like half a mile.
90 acres is half a mile?
No, 200 acres is like 0.55 miles.
What?
But it's not, I don't know that
that conversion doesn't sound right.
Yeah, I don't know that it works the same way.
Yeah. Okay, so this is where I made my note about Zak not wearing his hazmat mask. So they're in this tunnel. Zak is not wearing a hazmat mask, which makes me, again, believe that this episode might have been filmed earlier, because we do see him wearing the hazmat mask later on in earlier episodes.
Or
and I was like,
saw them like blatantly walking past these signs that say like warning asbestos, and they're like, oh, we should probably wear a mask. Maybe his mom was like, are you fucking stupid?
Are you so stupid?
Wear your mask.
So he's talking about how insane the tunnels seem, and then he states, I feel like some kind of medieval monster or something walking through here, which just then made me picture Zak walking around as the Hunchback of Notre Dame, limping through the tunnels.
Yeah, he was very cute. I mean, he's pretty tall, right? What is he, like 6'2" or something? Or is he not tall?
Aaron is tall. I don't know what Zak's height is, but
he's 6 foot. He's 6 foot. Oh, Nick is 6'1". Billy's 6 foot. Jeff is 6'2". How
what?
Oh, I was gonna say, Lauren, I think we need a visual of Zak as the Hunchback of Notre Dame.
just put his head on the body of Hunchback of Notre Dame,
walking through these tunnels, because it's ridiculous. The ceilings in here are very low, And he does keep walking around hunched over. But the weirdest part, and I don't know if you guys noticed this, is he's hunched over with his arms like behind him.
Yeah, he's like
like he's walking with his shoulders forward. And I was like, he really does look like Quasimodo.
This is we should actually put the like soundbite in. It's funny, I did this TikTok trend forever ago where it like starts with the dude who's saying, "Remember what I taught you, Quasimodo? You are deformed." And he's like, "I am deformed." And then the TikTok trend was like to do it with yourself, but you had that like beauty glamour filter on for the first part, and you're like, "You are deformed," and then you switch over and it's you without the filter on, and you're like, "I am deformed."
Okay, so Jim shows them how to get to Building 11, but we see how insane this network of tunnels really is. It goes for miles. They stumble across an old wheelchair that Zak points out, and it suddenly occurs to me that, like Mel said earlier, Grave Encounters must have definitely got their inspiration from this episode.
Wait, the Gurney?
When they stumble across an old wheelchair.
I thought it was a Gurney.
No, they do. They also stumble across a Gurney. But like, I just recently rewatched Grave Encounters, and like one of the first things you see is an old wheelchair sitting there.
Yeah,
and then that's what I saw in this episode, and I was like, well, that looks like almost like frame for frame.
It had to have been this one. When you watch it, the locked door thing, I was like, oh,
yeah. So Jim points out some graffiti on the wall that says "death," and Zak says, "Death is this way? Oh, well, that's where we're going." They continue on and they see more graffiti that says "death" with an arrow pointing to the left. Zak says, "We've been walking these tunnels for quite a while now, and we've been following the lovely word of death." Jim says, "Hey, look, we've got Satan on the other side." Zak says, "So that's great, Jim. We got Satan over there." And he walks over to more graffiti. "If you like death, continue on the path." Then he follows it with, "What is this? The black brick road?" Ba-dum-bum.
Such a jokester.
We see Aaron wearing a hazmat mask, and he says, "Man, I hate low ceilings." And he starts complaining about his back because poor Aaron is the tallest one out of all of them. Also, the most responsible one out of all of them, wearing his hazmat mask. But
yeah,
he's also the one who's carrying, I think, the most equipment. So that had to be like really uncomfortable. Zak asks if he's okay. And then they pause to stand upright because they've been walking through these tunnels hunched over for a while. They now come across a really rusty old medical bed, or like Mel said, a gurney. Mm-hmm. Jim tells us that it's likely from the 40s or the 50s.
I love how when Jim says that, because he's like, "When do you think this is from?" And he says the 40s or the 50s. And Zak just chooses the oldest decade of the ranch. He's like, "This is from the 40s."
1,000%. I was like, of course he went with the oldest one. The same way they said the word 1,000 and he was like, thousands of people died.
Yep. It's funny. I mean, I am absolutely guilty of doing that when it comes to like time, or I often round things to my advantage, you know, if I need more time, I'm like, oh, it's 12:30 if it's like 12:40. Like, oh, it's like 12:30. Or if it's like, oh, how much did this cost? I'm like, it's like $50.
Well, there's an episode, one of our episodes, where I'm like, it's 12:30. No, I say it's almost 12:30, and Lauren's like, it is 12:30. I was like, it's 12:24.
I know.
It's like same thing.
Yeah.
Same thing.
Yeah.
So Zak points out just how crazy it is to be walking around stumbling on things like this. Now we see Zak has pulled his shirt up over his mouth to like protect him from the dust, which I really don't think is doing anything. This was prior to COVID, so I don't know if he understood how all the mask stuff worked, but that's not really going to help him much. So he points out a sign that says, asbestos dust hazard, avoid breathing dust. Wear assigned protective equipment. Do not remain in area unless your work requires it. Breathing asbestos dust is hazardous to your health. As he stands there with his shirt over his mouth.
So stupid.
Now he asks if they have masks. And I'm like, you dummy.
That was funny. Like the editing on that one, because they cut right after it. He's like, we have masks, right?
Yeah. And I'm like, you idiot. You've been down there walking for miles. Like, just because the asbestos maybe is like in a specific space does not mean that the dust of it did not travel throughout those tunnels. Like,
it doesn't only exist at the sign.
No, exactly. Like he's acting like, oh, I see the sign now. Let me pull my t-shirt up. Okay, good job. So now Jim takes them on a shortcut to get to the morgue. They walk past some 666 graffiti on the wall, and Zak says, yet again, another beautiful visual metaphor before we get locked in. I feel very welcomed here. Aaron starts getting really freaked out as they head into the morgue. We see creepy ass footage of the body cooler, the big metal thing that has little cooler doors, and you have bodies like laying flat on a rolling tray to pull them in and out as you need them. You've seen them on like, I don't know, CSI or Law and Order or whatever. Jim starts explaining that this is where they put the bodies. He says that this is a temporary holding wing because the two main wards had been shut down for years prior.
Maybe that's why it was also like a hair salon. Like maybe it was initially a hair salon and then they made it the morgue.
And then they turned it into the temporary morgue, probably. Yeah, that makes sense. Zak says, well, at least we found a place to take a little nap if we get tired tonight. I said, he's such an Aries.
Yes.
Like, I actually want to make like a Venn diagram of like Zak Bagans. I think, I don't remember if Cody Brown is an Aries, but it's like Zak Bagans, Cody Brown, Jax Taylor, like all of these like narcissistic douchebags. Yeah. I don't know when Jax is born either, but like they all kind of, I don't know. They have similar vibes.
I wonder if we can find out like the actual time Zak was born too. Like I want his whole chart.
Yeah. Okay, hold on.
So maybe we could get what's her name? The Vanderpump Girls. The Vanderpump girl that does natal charts. No.
James's girlfriend.
Oh, fuck, what's her name? I like her. She does start.
Are they still dating?
I want to say, or I think they might have broken up. I want to say like Andy. I don't think it's Andy though. It's something like that.
Ugh, it's gonna bother me.
Hold on. James Kennedy, girlfriend.
Such a good.
Did I ever tell you that I was on the same
Allie Luber?
I was on the same
flight?
Airport bus with James Kennedy.
Really?
Did you ask him did you say like, hey, what's up, white Kanye?
No, but I took a picture of him.
You didn't say it's not about the pasta.
It's not about the pasta.
It's not about the pasta. It's not about the pasta.
If you are not familiar, because I understand that not everybody who watches paranormal reality TV watches all reality TV, but we are referencing the classic reality TV show Vanderpump Rules.
Yes. I don't watch much reality TV, but that's one of the shows that I did watch.
I watch all of the reality TV. All right, Shadow People, that's going to do it for part 1 of Ghost Adventures Season 1, Episode 6. Look out for part 2 dropping this Wednesday.
If you laughed, learned something, or yelled, "That's not how an EMF works," along with us, do us a solid and rate, review, and subscribe wherever you're listening.
Helps more curious weirdos like you discover the show and helps us floating up in the algorithm instead of stuck in the digital underworld.
You can follow us on socials for behind the scenes chaos, sneak peeks, and bonus hauntings. And if you've got a ghost story of your own, send it on in. You may just hear it on a future episode.
Thanks for hanging with us in the weird, the wild, and the absolutely unexplainable or completely explainable.
Until next time.
See you
See you in the shadows. Bye.